Staff, welcome everybody to the Dalles Chamber Community Affairs. This morning, our guests are paid leave Oregon experts. We're going to be talking to them about what that means, the different things, the different benefits, the different changes, and all of those things for 2025. And we will have Esgar and Andrea talk about that in just a bit. But before we do, this is what we do every morning on Community Affairs. We go around the room and introduce ourselves and which organization we belong to so that you have a better feel of who is here. Now, I know this is a small group, but believe me, this group is mighty in getting the word out, spreading the word. These are leaders who are involved in our community on a daily basis, if not a minute basis. So we're going to start with Mr. Bill Lennox. Could you tell us who you are and what you do?
Yes. Oh, good morning, everyone. I am with Six Rivers Dispute Resolution Center, and I'm also on the Board of Health. And today I just wanted to remind everybody, once again, we had a situation where we had a mediation involving a family member with an adult member, and to remember that as we grow older in our communities, oftentimes there are many oftentimes, unfortunately, there are times where we have disputes, and Six Rivers is a great opportunity if you have or know somebody that's having an issue with a dispute, whether it's in the family or outside of the family. It's a really worth a phone call to them to just sort of flesh it out and see if maybe they can't provide some service. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. We appreciate all that you guys do. And Bill volunteers for much more than what he just said. So
Thank you, Lisa.
Yes. All right, Mr. Dan Spots.
Thank you, Lisa. Dan Spots. I'm Economic Development Officer for the City of the Dalles. Very active in urban renewal. We have a Environmental Protection Agency brownfield grant for the recovery of vacant sites, underused sites where we are dealing with underground old gasoline tanks that people have forgotten about. So we can do things about that. I work with the airport over at Dallesport and a few other things around town. I used to be with the college before this for about 15 years. Thank you.
And a few other things. So let's go to Scott.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Lisa. Scott McKay. I'm a community liaison for Circles of Care, and Circles of Care connects older adults who need some kind of periodic support, like friendly visits with volunteers. Last Friday, we had a Hope and Progress luncheon and presentation by the Oregon Alzheimer's Association. We had over 30 people attend. It was a great presentation, and the Alzheimer's Association was talking about what their plan is and goals for this year as far as helping support those with living with dementia and their care partners in Wasco County. We are putting together a steering committee so we can start actually working on providing more education and work on providing more supports for those living with dementia and also respite care. I think it's May 13th or the 14th, Tracy Morgan and I will be presenting here on Community Affairs and talk about what we're doing in Wasco County. I think that's all I have to say to this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. And then Scott, just on a side note, so we don't forget, I need to get with you so I can figure out and hear those updates from that presentation. I was still out last week, so I was not able to come and be there. So would love to connect with you on that so that we can help with any efforts. David Peters. Oh, go ahead, Scott.
No, I'll talk when I come over to charge the EV.
There you go. That sounds great. Dave Peters.
Good morning, everybody. Dave Peters, Columbia Cascade Housing, Mid-Columbia Housing Authority. Still looking for a real estate developer and a housing resource center manager, but Rand Road is progressing. That's going to be 130 apartments in Hood River. And I just found out yesterday that there is another project in the Dalles where D-Arts Market used to be. That one's going to be about 80 units, partnering with the community action programs for part of the programs there. So yeah, big things are happening.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And for those who don't know where D Hearts used to be, where is that location?
You got me. No, it'll be right next to the transportation center. I don't know
Okay, great.
even the street, to be honest. Like, it's one of those that's out to dry. Is
Chenoweth Loop Road.
Okay, great.
Chenoweth, but yeah. So it's
Some
right
of us
next to the
remember it.
Transportation center is going to be adjacent to it. So
Okay.
starting the development, and then as was reported last week, there's going to be the redevelopment of the middle school that's out near that as well. So hopefully things start going on in the west side of town.
Awesome. Yes, some of us remember D Hearts. Some of us. Yes, I remember that was it. So, and then last but not least, Phil Brady.
Good morning, and congratulations to the Housing Authority for pulling that out to get the money on that right as the before the administration's transition. So you got a firm lock on it. Good job. The Phil Brady, Wasco County Commissioner. One thing that I've been that's going on is it's the conversation is going this with regards to immigration, and there was a meeting last Wednesday at St. Mary Academy. Sheriff McGill and Police Chief Worthy presented. It was sponsored. Maria Pena from the next door kind of convened the meeting. Excellent attendance. About 100 people presented, talked, and very well received. The main message from the sheriff is that the Oregon laws prohibit state and local law enforcement to work with federal ICE agents. And it's a tricky situation because people feel scared. It's realistic fear. It's palpable. I've heard several people really worried. And the chief did the best he could to say, yes, not only can you trust us not to pass along your information or something, that at this point, the fear will lead to intimidation, and intimidation will lead to discrimination. Discrimination, people can get, how to say it, lose their rights in terms of practical, not, people taking advantage of that. So it's a time for courage and a time for folks to support our Latinx community in the Dalles. So we're continuing to work on that, get information out. There's also not only reporting a bias crime, but also a bias incident is something. And the sheriff said, well, we have this little URL code on our cars that you can do that. So I need to find that little code. It's a place to track that. Why is it that important? Well, if sticks and stones hurt my bones, yes, they do. If people are intimidated just verbally, that leads to the situation where people become afraid and then are willing to be a victim of a crime because they don't feel like they have rights, and also the perpetrators feel like, yes, I have the ability to do this because of the nature of the political environment. That's what I've been up to, among other things.
All right. Thank you, Phil. Appreciate that. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our guest, Esgar Avila, Avila, right? Sorry, I need more
No worries.
coffee. It's the State of Oregon Employment Department is the big umbrella, but they are here to talk to us about paid leave Oregon. We are recording this so that we can put it up on our YouTube. So if any of our managers, business owners, and that miss this, then we can make sure that they get this recording later next week. Anyway, I thank you for guys being here. I know it's early, but I do appreciate you being here. Zoom does allow us to have you that and without commuting. But we look forward to your information. And thank you, Andrea, for being here also and being that #1 person so I don't have to do the slideshow. I appreciate that. So I'm going to let you take over And then I will watch the screen for questions. I hope you don't mind. This group is good about if they think of something they want to ask a question, they just ask it then rather than waiting to the end. But I'll try to be watching the chat and the hands raised so that we make sure everybody's question gets heard.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Lisa. So my name is Esgar Avila. I'm a program analyst one, based out of Hermiston, Oregon. I cover the region from Umatilla County, which is the Hermiston area, all the way to Hoodover County. So I also cover Wasco County. So after this presentation, if you would like me to come in and present, table, I would love to do that. I would like to get more connected with the Dalles area, Wasco County, Hoodover area. So I think this is a great opportunity for me. And Andrea, would you like to present yourself? Second. All right. Thank you. Well, so pay leave Oregon, it's an added benefit that we have for Oregonians, so we can be there in important moments in our life. So here we will have the employee-employer guidebook. We will drop a link in the chat after this presentation. We'll do a link of all chats, and we have the link for the employee-employer guidebook. That will goes an overview and over the rights and responsibilities under the Pay Leave Oregon program. Next slide. So what is Pay Leave Oregon? Pay Leave Oregon in Oregon is a pay leave that's up to 12 weeks with 2 additional weeks for some pregnancy-related conditions. So you can take pay leave for 3 different reasons. The first reason is family leave, and that's to care for a family member with a serious illness or injury, or to bond with a new child after birth, adoption, or foster care. Placement. Pay leave defines family as anyone related by blood or affinity. SB 999 aligned the definition of family between OFLA and pay leave. OED and BOLI released rules defining affinity factors. The second leave is medical leave. It's to care for yourself during a serious health condition. It includes the physical and mental impacts due to miscarriage and stillbirth as well. Safe leave is for individuals who may have experienced sexual assault, domestic violence, harassment, bias crimes, or stalking. And Oregon is one of, I believe, 2 states that has safe leave. So that is a very bonus that we have for being in Oregon. So who is covered by Pay Leave Oregon? Pay Leave Oregon covers most employees who work in Oregon. You may qualify for benefits if you work a seasonal, full-time, or part-time job. The size of your employer does not impact your coverage as an employee. Pay leave does not cover federal government employees, individuals participating in state or federal work training assistance programs, undergrad or graduate students in work study programs, railroad workers who are exempt under the Federal Railroad Unemployment Insurance Act, and volunteers. As for self-employed individuals who may opt in to pay leave, and there is an overview on our website on how that looks. Also as well, tribal governments. Eligibility. So you are covered for pay leave if you are employed and your work is located in Oregon. You worked at least $1,000 in wages in the year prior to your qualifying event. You contributed to pay leave through payroll reductions. You experience a qualifying event, which we will go over that in the next slide. Have a social security number or individual tax identification number, known as an ITIN. Employees who are eligible to receive unemployment insurance or workers' comp are not eligible for pay leave. So examples of qualifying events: disability due to miscarriage or stillbirth. This includes both physical and mental impacts related to the loss of pregnancy. Caring for and bonding with the child in the first year after birth, after adoption, or after they've been placed in your home through foster care. And then some examples of non-qualifying events. So non-serious illness. So you say you have a little cough, taking some Advil, or that doesn't qualify. Bereavement, military leave. These are non-qualifying events. Next slide. So verification of qualifying events. Employees will need to provide the appropriate documentation to support the type of leave that they are taking. The documentation verification checklist can be found in the employee guidebook. Here we can see the verification of a serious health condition form. And this is one that we provide pay leave, but we do accept other forms as well. So every covered employee in Oregon can take up to 12 weeks or pay leave of pay leave in a year covered or benefit year. For all types of leave, you can take your leave for a week, a day, or a number of days less than a week. You cannot take leave in amounts less than a day. You can also choose between two different options for your leave schedule: consecutive or intermittent leave. You cannot work during days that you are on leave. If you have more than one job, you must take leave from all your employers on the days you are claiming paid leave. Benefit years are a rolling 52-week period commencing the Sunday before your leave begins. If you have multiple qualifying events in a single year, you must do separate applications for each leave. And if you have a chronic medical condition, then you will need to file a new application every benefit year. So paid leave covered. Paid leave Oregon does not replace OFLA or FEMLA, and there are important differences between these three programs. SB 999 aligns paid leave Oregon and OFLA for leave to be taken concurrently if the leave qualifies under both OFLA and paid leave Oregon. Paid leave allows claimants to use paid leave benefits with other leave benefits such as short-term disability, vacation, or sick leave. We encourage claimants to talk to their employer and insurance provider about using additional paid time off benefits. And here we have our chart of comparison. So let's look at our application at a glance. For foreseeable leave, the employee must inform their employer at least 30 days prior to starting leave. For unforeseeable leave, the employee of the authorized or the authorized representative must provide verbal notice within 24 hours and written notice within 3 days. The employer notification or leave policy may ask what type of leave you're taking, so if it's family, medical, or safe leave, why you need to take leave, your covered life event, and when for how long you expect to take leave. And if you don't know, it can be an estimate. Pay leave will notify the employer at the time the application is received, and once the decision has been made. So examples of payroll contributions and benefits. Contributions are a percentage of wages paid by employees and employers. The employment department set the contribution rate annually by November 15, and the rate cannot exceed more than 1% of the gross employee wages. The rate for 2024 is 1% of up to $168,600 in wages, and that has changed now with 2025. Earnings over that are not subject to further contributions. Employees pay 60% of the contribution rate, and large employers pay 40% of that contribution rate. Small employers who have fewer than 25 employees are not required to pay the employer portion of contributions. Employers may choose to pay the employee portion as a benefit for their employees. When we calculate benefits, we'll look at how much the employee earned compared to the state average weekly wage, which is $1,269.69 through June 2024. People earning 65% or less than the state average weekly wage, which is about $825, will receive the 100% wage replacement. For people earning more than 825, benefits will be calculated in the following way: 65% of the state. Yeah.
So I just want to clarify. So just because we've heard about this all the time, some of our employers already offer sick leave, vacation, and that. So is this along with, or is this if they don't offer that?
Along with.
Along with. Now,
Yes.
is it required still if the employers have more than 25 employees? They still have to do this even if they offer a
So
system?
it's required for the employer to pay in to Pay Leave Oregon.
Okay.
So if that
Just
25
wanted
employees or less, they don't have to pay in to Pay Leave Oregon.
Okay. And is that 25 full-time or just 25
Just
total?
25 employees total.
Okay, so it doesn't
Mhm.
matter if they're part-time or not.
No.
Okay, thank you. I just needed to clarify that.
Yeah, no worries. So yes, see, people who are earning more than $125 benefits will be calculated in the following way. So 65% of the state average weekly wage, which is $825, and 50% of the average weekly wages that exceed that amount of $825. We also have a benefits calculator on our website. And so the minimum weekly benefit is $63, or here it says $65.36. and the maximum weekly benefit is $1,568.60. So tax options. So yes, paid leave benefits are taxable. So when it comes out of your deductions, it's not taxed, it's just paid. And then once you receive paid leave Oregon, it'll be taxed. So you may need to pay federal and state personal income taxes on your benefits if you opt out of withholdings. To reduce the amount of taxes you need to pay at the end of the year, you can authorize pay leave to withhold state or federal taxes from your benefit payments. You can make this tax election during your initial claim or anytime after that on Francis Online, which is a portal we use to apply, or by filling out and mailing the paper form. So job protections. If you have worked for your employer for 90 days, your job will be protected while you're on leave. An employee returning from leave must be restored to the same position that the employee held prior to the employee's leave. If that position no longer exists, the employee must be reinstated to an equivalent position. If the equivalent position is not available at the same job site, the employee must be offered an equivalent position at a different location within 50 miles of the prior job site. If equivalent jobs are available at multiple sites, the employee must be offered at the position at the job site that is nearest to the employee's prior job site. Your employer must also keep your healthcare benefits in place. Your employer can require you to keep paying the same premium costs that you would normally pay. And if you experience discrimination or retaliation from your employer for taking paid leave, you may submit a complaint to the Bureau of Labor of Industries, or BOLI. So you can find there's also fraud and identity theft, which is a common issue that can happen through Paid Leave Oregon, such as anywhere else. So you can find a link to report fraud on our homepage or review our fraud page under the resource tab. Paid Leave Oregon is actively working to prevent and identify paid leave fraud. We have systems and procedures to stop and prevent fraud. And we constantly update them to stay ahead of people who are trying to commit fraud. We don't share details of investigations, as we don't want to tip off people committing fraud about how we identify and investigate fraud. Preventing paid leave fraud is a critical part of our work. The report fraud button is also on our report fraud page. If you have information about fraudulent claims, we want to know about it. We review every tip that we receive. The more information you can give us, the more it will help us investigate. Confidentially, laws keep us from sharing the results of any investigation based on the information that you provide, but we do appreciate your help. If you are a claimant who reports fraud on your claim, we will put a stop to the claim. We will not pay benefits until we can verify your identity and make sure that you and not anyone else will get your money. This investigation may take some time and may delay your benefit payments. If you haven't made a claim, we will correct the records so the fraud doesn't affect any future claims you may have. If you think someone has stolen your identity, we encourage you to report identity theft to your local police department and other federal agencies. And you can find a step-by-step guide at the Federal Trade Commission's website at identitytheft.gov. And then this concludes our presentation. We will now turn it over to you all for the Q&A portion of our community conversation. And here you can find our contact information, our social media, our website, and so on.
Thank you. So
thank
at this point, does anybody have any questions on this? I know that this is more geared towards the individual, but it affects the employee or employers as noted. So that's something, and I know that there was misunderstanding, and that's why I asked for that clarification. Some employers thought, well, since I already offer sick leave, I offer paid leave and all of that, do I need to do this? And the answer is yes, if you have more than 25 total employees. So that is something of that piece of it. And then I'm going to ask again, Esgar, what is the percentage of the piece that the employer has to pay versus the employee?
It is 40%. So the employee pays 60 and the employer pays 40. And it does not exceed 1% of the worker's wage.
Okay. So So have you noticed that if any of the employers have discontinued their normal pay leave and sick leave, and just use this, or do they continue to do both?
I believe it's both because sick leave is a requirement through Oregon as well.
Right.
So they have to do both. But yeah, if they don't have 25 employees or more, then
Right.
they don't have to be paying into paid leave.
So, which makes it tough because I know a lot of our restaurants have more than 25 because they're part-timers.
Right.
So that is an expense that's on top of them. And that's that. So people don't think about our small, let's just use Freebridge. But they end up with more because they have part-time people. Some people may only work one shift a week. So that gives them that total and they'll not have to pay into that. Now, is that an average for the whole year of 25 employees, or just no matter if you have them
I
at
think
least once a year, then you still have to pay
at any point in time, I believe.
any point in time?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And then can I share with you, Lisa, a list of all the links, and can you share that out afterwards?
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
Actually, if you put whatever that document is into the chat, people can just
Oh, yeah,
grab it from
I
the
will do
chat.
that.
That makes it easy for everybody to grab and just download right to their computer.
I will do that.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Any questions from anybody in the screen? Y'all are quiet.
You covered my questions, Lisa. Thank you.
Okay, well, that's good. Try. I've had 2 cups of coffee now. That helps. So, whoops, hang on a second. There
I just
might
set the
be.
list.
Oh, there it is. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So there is a document there for you guys to download if you want with all the links. I'm going to do that so that I can share it out to our employers. So they just have an idea of some of those things and resources they can go. Bill.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So my question has to do with how is this received by employees? Do they think this is a really good benefit, or do they feel like this is just an additional cost?
People have been seen as a great benefit because it allows them to be there for the most important moments of their life. So like when a baby's born, being able to be there for 12 weeks, and get it paid off. Because with the family law NOFLA, it wasn't paid. And with Pay Leave Oregon, it's paid. So it's just a huge added benefit that they didn't have before. Also, when someone gets injured, it's a huge benefit as well. As for family leave, as I mentioned earlier, so you can to take care of someone that's injured or sick. You can also go overseas. So let's say a doctor, let's say someone goes to Mexico to take care of their parent. They can get it signed by a doctor over there. And as long as it's signed, the form is signed by a doctor, any doctor anywhere, they can get approved. So it's, if anything, it's an added benefit for Oregonians in general.
Great.
And it's mostly been positive reviews. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. That's super. Thank you very much.
Bill.
Maybe I wasn't listening well. Since it's paid leave, Oregon makes me wonder what other states do. Is this common in other places?
Yes, I believe the last time I saw it was around 18 states have pay leave. I might be wrong. But we're one of the few that started with it. Washington has their own pay leave. California has had pay leave for like 20 years. New York has pay leave. I believe Colorado does too. New Jersey. And there's a few more states in the talks to get pay leave into their state as well.
So is it transferable? Can a person changing jobs from Washington to Oregon?
So each has their own pay leave. I'm not sure on that question. I can get back to you on that. That is a good question. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, good question.
Well, especially where we live in the gorge. And so people are working on both sides of the river. It's common for that job to change. So that would actually be interesting information to know if that can be, especially where we're a bi-state right here all the way down the river.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I'm in Hermiston, so we deal with the same thing here.
Yep, you do.
So when they're working in Washington, they'll be paying into pay leave in Washington, and then when they're working in Oregon, they'll be paying into pay leave Oregon.
All right.
And they have their own pay leave program too. I haven't looked into it to know exactly what have their pay leave, but I do know they have their pay leave.
Okay.
Mhm.
Cool. Any other questions? Those are great questions, guys. I think we need more coffee. I don't have a Keurig on the screen for you. So, so let me ask you this. What has been maybe the biggest challenge? Let's just say the biggest challenge to employers, because that's what we are dealing with, is probably more on the employer side with our businesses and all of that as a chamber. So what have you noticed as being that big challenge that maybe we can help with the education piece to help that be mitigated?
See, so some of them I believe have been like the forms, like once they get notified, they have to sign it on their end as well. They have to fill it out on their end about Pay Leave Oregon on Francis Online, which is the portal we use to Pay Leave Oregon.
Okay.
And just being knowledgeable on what they need to sign, and that's what we're trying to do. They're trying to spread out the information, let everyone know what they need to do and what are their employees' rights to Pay Leave Oregon as well. So they're key factors into Pay Leave Oregon. And then
You guys have, oops, sorry, go ahead.
I think just getting information and making sure they're aware of what rights employees have has also been a big issue as well.
Do you guys have a one page, like a brochure or a flyer, something?
Yeah,
Because
so-
we work a lot with new businesses coming to us, and we have lots of existing businesses. And besides the online, sometimes it helps to have that in front of you, that this is also a responsibility that you need to think about as you open a business, take over a business, purchase one, or you're managing one, that we can help with that piece of it and getting that information out.
Yeah. So I would like to plan to go drop off some flyers over there, and then maybe if I have a presentation in that area, or if there's an event I can table at as well.
Yeah.
I have dropped some off, maybe like last month, in the city of the Dalles, but maybe it could be ran out already.
Yeah, let's connect so that you can drop some off at the chamber so that we
Yeah,
can help get those out to the businesses. And then I'll look at that digital resources that you sent, because those are other things that we can be sending to our chamber members, just so they're aware, and a reminder, and here's the proper forms so they don't have the wrong ones. Because I know sometimes they update frequently. So that way they'll have access to the most recent. So yes. Dave Peters, you have a question.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had a question. When we had a person that was on, I can't remember what the correct term is, but the sporadic time off, here and there as they needed it, we were approved for that. There didn't seem like there was any checks and balances to check with us to make sure we agreed on those days that they said they missed. And I was wondering, is that going to be? It just seems like could it really be taken advantage of if there's nobody checking with us on what days they missed. I was just wondering if that's going to be something that's going to be fixed in the future.
Yeah, so for intermittent leave, which is the one I believe you're talking about, so where they can take like one day off a week, they need to have like a qualifying event to be qualifying for that. So let's say they have a medical appointment every Friday every week because they have like a chronic issue. That could be one of the reasons. Another reason could be like, let's say they're bonding with their child, so they have childcare every day of the week except for Friday, so they're taking off Friday every week. So in order to qualify for that, they would need to have a qualifying reason or qualifying event.
Yeah, but it seems like they were able to potentially, in our case, basically say they weren't up to working that day, and they, I'm not saying anything happened. I'm just saying it appeared to us that they could say that and also work that day and get paid, or work part of a day and say that was the day that they took off, and really they worked part, so they didn't normally be entitled. And I'm just wondering. I'm not saying anything did happen, but it seems like certainly somebody could be getting paid twice very easily.
Well, if technically not supposed to, if we find out that they have been working, like let's say they're paying into the state or something, and that way in that form, then yes, we would revoke those privileges of Pay Leave Oregon. But technically, they should not be working if they have more than one employer. They could, per se, in your case, say they're working under the table and they're getting paid cash. We really wouldn't know unless someone reported it. but through Pay Leave Oregon, they shouldn't be working to a different job.
I was thinking, just the one employer, that if they put that they didn't work Thursday but they worked 3 hours and then took off, that disqualifies them for paid leave, but they might still put that in. And there's nobody checking with the business to say, did these people miss these 3 days of that month? And that just seems like something that could be buttoned up pretty easy. And I think most employers would be willing to do that extra work. I mean, in general,
Yeah.
nobody wants to do extra paperwork. But to me, to prevent that type of potential for double dipping, if you want to call it that, I think a lot of employers would be willing to do that.
Yeah, I think there's a way that it gets reported. I'm not fully sure on my end, where if someone works on the days they have off, that it gets reported from the employers. I'm not fully sure on my end how that works, because I don't receive that information. But I would think there is a way where they do receive and they're notified if an employee works on the days they have off.
Yeah, I mean, at the end,
it gets reported.
we called and checked the website, and we ended up sending in the information that here's the days they actually missed, just in case that could be double checked. But this is months ago. But
Gotcha.
if there is a way to report, that there's a concern, there was really no easy way to do it.
Yeah, I'm not fully sure on that answer. I can ask my supervisor and kind of like get the right answer for you. I want to make sure I'm getting the right information to you. I'm not fully sure on my end because I don't deal with that type of information. So I will seek guidance and see what the right answer is to that.
That would be great. Then we can let people know. Yeah, that would be awesome.
I think everybody around the table, all employers would like to know that, we recognize the value of this for employees, and we've all been there.
Absolutely.
Working for companies. I certainly have been in that situation, and then I don't have to supervise anybody now, and I'm thankful for that. On the other hand, it can also work against employers. Small employers, they're struggling already.
Right. No, I mean, we want this to be an added benefit for employees and employers, for the important moments of life, and we don't want this to be something that affects them, or someone's taking advantage of it. So, I believe there's something. If it's an issue, we can try to look into it, and I can bring it up. Great question.
That would be helpful. So once you find out something, then I can send it off to this group and add it to the information with the video on YouTube also, so that we make sure our employers know. Because that's obviously, I want it good for both, but my job is to protect our businesses. So I want to make sure they're very informed with the right information. So that way we're doing things so that it's as smooth as possible and it benefits all. So yes, thank you. Any other questions? These are great questions, guys. And I'm double checking to make sure nobody wrote any questions. Nope. So if I don't have any further questions, we will give you all a little bit of time back on these crazy week that we have. I do want to remind people very quickly though, the 29th, I believe that is a Wednesday. We are doing a lunch and learn at the Grill. It is business strategies versus strategic planning. Do you know what that is? And are you doing both to help your businesses? It is free to come. You just have to purchase your own lunch. And that'll be from noon to 1. And where Chad Leeson is a business strategist, and he will be leading that discussion. We're trying to do tools that we can bring in and help our businesses. And this is open to anyone. You do not have to be a chamber member to attend. We do need you to register though, so we have enough chairs set aside for everybody. And the link is on our website and our calendar. We also are doing Morning Buzz next Tuesday morning at 7:30 to 8:30 at the chamber. This is a great opportunity to introduce your business, what you do, and all those different things. It is an intentional networking event. It will be held at the chamber because it's the brand new year. So we figured we would kick them off with the Chamber of Commerce and be in our lobby. We'll have coffees and goodies and door prizes, all of that. So we look forward to people coming. And then of course we have our normal networking that we do with the Wired with the Chamber on Wednesdays and our community affairs every Thursday. We are now actually full through the end of February with speakers, but we are looking to fill up the rest of the year. So if you know of somebody, an organization, another update that's coming, maybe, and I'm just going to pick on Esgar for this. Let's just say Paid Leave Oregon has a new criteria that's coming out. Let's just say July or August. We want to get them on the community affairs so we know about those things before they happen. So don't be afraid to ask to do it again, especially if there's changes coming up that you are aware of. But that is what we've gone on. If anybody has any questions, they can email me, Lisa at the Dalles Chamber, and we will get that person scheduled and get them on that for the year for 2025. With that, there's a ton of things going on in our community. We love it when you support local. The 7th is our chocolate crawl. There's like this, it's the first Friday for 2025, and we are doing that in the downtown, and it should be lots of fun, and it involves chocolate. So how can you go wrong a week before Valentine's Day? So there will be specials and all of that fun will be happening in downtown the Dalles from 4 to I think like 7 or 8. On the 7th. So it's a great way for you to see people, support local, and have fun. So it's a win-win-win, we think, for our community. So be looking for that. The Dalles Main Street is heading that up. And so they are already getting the word out there. And that's just a fun way for us to really come together as a community and feel like a community. There's so many different things happening already this year, concerts, events, and everything. So go to thedalleschamber.com and grab that community calendar and start filling up your social engagement. Because everything you do there actually comes back and supports local. So it's a win for the chamber. So let's do that. Everybody have a fantastic week. Take care. And if you have any questions that you think of later, please shoot them to me because I will gladly email them to Esgar. And I know that he will work on getting us some of those answers. It might be just in the brochures, and then I'll get back to you on that piece of it. We want to make sure that we are fully informed and help our community in every way we can. So again, Andrea and Esgar, thank you so much for being here this early morning and sharing with us just a program that actually works for both the chamber or for the community member and for the employers. So we will get that information out to our employers so that they know and are properly informed on how it works and making sure they're doing everything right. But we appreciate, thank you for coming. You guys have a great Thursday.
You too. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.